The idea of a world land bridge first arose 20 years ago. When the Berlin Wall fell, Helga Zepp-LaRouche was the only political figure in Germany prepared for it. As Lyndon LaRouche had forecast the collapse of the Comecon bloc and had declared in October of 1988 that the reunification of Germany was an immediate prospect, both LaRouches were clear on the fact that a new order of peace based on mutual economic development of the East and the West would become possible. When the peaceful revolution of 1989 had successfully brought down the wall, Zepp-LaRouche declared that an unmatched, sublime hour of mankind had struck. While the Western European governments were surprised and without contingency plans of action, already in January of 1990 the Schiller Institute published a pamphlet entitled The Productive Triangle Paris-Berlin-Vienna, Locomotive for the World Economy. Zepp-LaRouche sent German Federal Chancellor Helmut Kohl an in-depth study of this proposal, along with a personal letter in which she wrote, "I would like to call the accompanying report to your attention. It contains a proposal for a comprehensive European infrastructure program as the precondition for the economic development of Eastern Europe. This concept was designed based on a proposal by my husband, Lyndon LaRouche, the fundamental idea of which is that only such an economic development program which includes cooperation with the economically desperate Soviet Union can be an effective policy for maintaining peace." Several ministries of Western Germany sent replies upon having received the report, expressing their appreciation and promising to evaluate the program. Mrs. Zepp-LaRouche provided leadership in spreading the optimism of economic reconstruction into all areas of society in Eastern and Western Germany and putting it on the agenda for realization. Great enthusiasm was displayed for the program by Mittelstand firms, chambers of commerce and chambers of industry, as well as entrepreneurs on trade fairs. However, they said, the state must get involved. Unfortunately, Kohl caved in under immense pressure from French President François Mitterrand and British Prime Minister Margaret Thatcher by agreeing to relinquish the hard German currency, the Deutschmark, in favor of the euro. He did this in return for their agreement to the reunification of Germany, as they had threatened to block in no uncertain language. The pressure grew to excruciating levels as establishment figures who were acting to develop both East German and Eastern European industry, such as Deutsche Bank CEO Alfred Herrhausen and trust agency head Detlef Rohwedder, were assassinated. These murders remain officially unsolved to this day. With the collapse of the Soviet Union, the Schiller Institute, through the leadership of Helga Zepp-LaRouche, expanded its development program eastward. Thus was created the Eurasian Landbridge. Over the following years, she organized hundreds of conferences worldwide and work groups which brought together high-level participants from all continents, and especially from the nations of the Strategic Four-Power Alliance comprising the United States, Russia, China, and India. Just to name a few, shortly after the fall of the Berlin Wall and the reunification of Germany, the Schiller Institute organized a conference in Berlin with the participation of leading Russian scientists. In 1996, Helga Zepp-LaRouche spoke at a major conference on the subject of the Eurasian Landbridge in China. Shortly after the groundbreaking Schiller Institute conference in Bad Schwalbach in May 2003, the first international conference after the beginning of the Iraq War, Mr. and Mrs. LaRouche were invited to speak at a conference in Bangalore, India. In April 2007, a paper by Lyndon LaRouche was presented at a high-level conference in Moscow entitled Mega Projects of Russia's East, a transcontinental Eurasia-America transport link via the Bering Strait. And later, in September of the same year, the Schiller Institute assembled 350 international guests, among them an impressive delegation of Russian scholars and political leaders, to discuss the solutions to the global crisis under the headline, "The Eurasian Landbridge Becomes a Reality." And already in February of 2009, more than 350 guests from 25 nations came together for a lively dialogue on the greatest crisis facing mankind: how to reconstruct the world now.